unseeded this robot, but showing a lot of potential. It's a super heavyweight robot, powered by a 24-volt sealed lead-acid battery, armoured in aluminium. The team also say that a huge amount of money's been spent building this robot. Let's see how that helps in the arena then. Definitely in with a chance of surprising everyone, this robot, unseeded today. It's a middleweight robot. It's a sort of box wedge-shaped robot with all the advantages of a wedge for tipping opponents over. A 4-volt sealed lead-acid battery, the power behind this robot. Armoured in titanium, cost an absolute fortune to build this robot. Let's hope it was worth it for them. They'd better mind the arena wall flamers, they can be very, very dangerous. The arena flipper comes into play when a robot's immobilised. A bit of extra insult to injury to be flipped around the arena. That's the pit. Don't want to be going in there too soon. They've got to look out for the blasts of fire from those flame grills. They can do a surprising amount of damage. You don't want to get too close to the corner patrol zones. Once you're in there, it's more pain than you can handle. 3, 2, 1. Activate. Matilda is hungry. Is she going to get a bite to eat? That flipper's ready and waiting for its first victim. The titanium armour, not as effective against that impact as they'd like. Easy to punch through that aluminium armour with enough aggression behind it. The pincers holding it fast now. Can they make the most of this chance? Dents and scrapes as it bumps and barges around the arena. The pincers have been snapped off. Their gripping days are over. The aluminium shell, very flimsy protection against this onslaught. The titanium standing up for now. How long will it hold out? My word! There's bits of robot all over the arena! Not a lot happening here. The crowd want more action. Taking a bit of a battering as it pushes it all over and tries to topple it. I'm not sure how long the aluminium armour can hold up against this sort of impact. Onto the arena flipper they go. Are they ready to fly? Up and down as the flipper shows its intentions. Don't say you weren't warned. This is classic Robot Wars. The titanium won't be able to stand up to too much of that. The aluminium armour, not much defence against this kind of attack. It's carnage, devastation. It's Robot Wars. Can the aluminium armour stand up to this? Coming in for an attack with a flamethrower, It crashes in, and that's gonna hurt. In it comes. Can it get under there? The aluminium shell, very flimsy protection against this onslaught. The titanium armour, not as effective against that impact as they'd like. The crowd are wondering what's happened here. This isn't what they came to see. They want maiming and slaughter. That flipper's ready and waiting for its first victim. The pit opening now in the arena floor. Maybe soon to be occupied by one of these robots. The titanium standing up for now. How long will it hold out? I'm not sure how long the aluminium armour can hold up against this sort of impact. Bits and pieces everywhere. You could melt them down, I suppose, and make a whole new robot out of them. The titanium won't be able to stand up to too much out of that. The steel armour giving it some protection from the impact. Metal everywhere, and the crowd love it. The aluminium should be able to protect it. Not too easy to cut into titanium armour, and the impact causing some real damage this time. The titanium armour not as effective against that impact as they'd like. The weapon trying to lift it and topple it. Keep away from the pit, unless you've had enough of this fight, and sneaking in to just slot the flipper under it and do its worst, and into the pit. Cease. Unseeded in this competition, but could have a few surprises up its sleeve. It's a super heavyweight category robot, powered by a 24-volt sealed lead-acid battery, armoured in steel and very resilient to being cut or burnt. It's armed with a colossal flywheel that can reach speeds of over 1200 RPM. This is one of the most expensive robots we have competing today. Nothing was too good for this team. Unseated this time, but no slouch. This robot could do well. It's a heavyweight robot. This robot, one of the box wedge designs, a variation on the old favourite, as you can see. Powered by a 12-volt sealed lead-acid battery. Armoured in light but hard titanium. It's armed with a spike trap to pin and push opponents. No expense spared on this robot. Let's hope the results live up to expectations, or someone's going to want a refund. The flamers on the arena walls can be a great danger if a robot's flammable at all. They can give them a nasty shock even if they aren't too. The arena flipper, a great way to finish a fight if someone's immobilised. Throw them up in the air and watch them crash to the ground. There is the pit of oblivion. Take care not to get too close, or it could be all over. Bursts of flame occasionally from the flame grills. They can toast a robot if they get stuck there. Watch out for the CPZs, otherwise you might come face to face with a house robot. 3, 2, 1. Active. Matilda invites you into play. Games. A bit rough for most robots though. Onto the arena flipper they go. Are they ready to fly? The armour holding out well against the charge. Tricky to cut into the titanium, luckily for them. No damage from the flying wheel that time. A miraculous escape. That won't lift anything anymore. The steel taking the punishment well so far. The massive flywheel edging closer to its prey. A gentle push there. That won't do much damage. Not too easy to cut into titanium armour. Not a lot happening here. The crowd want more action. The steel armour giving it some defence against the attack. I don't know how it got out of that so lightly. Hardly any damage at all. On the attack now. Some of these flywheels spin it up to 1200 RPM, and you want to stay well clear of them, I can tell you. The titanium standing up well to the punishment. This has all the makings of a classic battle. The steel armour giving it some protection from the impact. No damage from the flywheel that time. A miraculous escape. Already a puncture mark as the spike gets stuck in. Nothing serious though, I don't think. Tough steel armour, making it harder to cut into, of course. The titanium won't be able to stand up to too much of that. It's made a good start. It's beginning to cause some damage. The armour holding out well against the charge. Tricky to cut it into the titanium, luckily for them. And miraculously they escape damage from that attack. This is what Robot Wars is all about. Carnage! The titanium armour not as effective against that impact as they'd like. The steel resisting the blade so far. The pit opens up, waiting to welcome the loser of our contest. Not too easy to cut into titanium armour. The steel taking the punishment well so far. And in he comes Saran with the spike. I don't think the spike did much good that time. My word, there's bits of robot all over the arena. No damage from the flywheel that time. A miraculous escape. The titanium standing up well to the punishment. The steel armour giving it some protection from the impact. This is classic Robot Wars. Keep away from the pit. Unless you've had enough of this fight. The deadly flywheel on the attack again. Here comes the spike again. And the impact causing some real damage this time. Tricky to cut into the titanium, luckily for them. The armour holding out well against the charge. No damage from the spike this time. Try a better weapon sometime, boys. It's carnage. Devastation. It's Robot Wars. The steel armour giving it some defence against the attack. Not too easy to cut into titanium armour. The steel taking the punishment well so far. Tremendous force behind that charge. You can see the huge dents the impact made. They'll be wishing the steel was even thicker on there. Although it cease. 3, 2, 1. Activate. Matilda is hungry. Is she going to get a bite to eat? That flipper's ready and waiting for its first victim. But can the aluminium armor stand up to this? I'm not sure how long the aluminium armor can hold up against this sort of impact. Getting a bit too close for comfort to those flame jets. Barging in to push it around. Wouldn't like to be cleaning the debris from the arena later on. Not too hard to cut into the aluminium, but it's putting up a brave fight. The armor holding out well against the charge. The aluminium armor not much defense against this kind of attack. Matilda is ready and waiting. Not a lot happening here. The crowd want more action. It crashes in, and that's gonna hurt. It's finding it hard to stand up to the slicing with just the aluminium armor. Taking a bit of a battering as it pushes it all over and tries to topple it. The aluminium shell, very flimsy protection against this onslaught. Bits and pieces everywhere. You can melt them down, I suppose, and make a whole new robot out of them. The steel taking the punishment well so far. Can the aluminium armor stand up to this? Metal everywhere, and the crowd love it. I'm not sure how long the aluminium armor can hold up against this sort of impact. Lifting it just enough for it to fall over. Not much damage though. Moving in with a spinning disc. Can they avoid its cutting edge? Matilda is ready and waiting. Not too hard to cut into the aluminium, but it's putting up a brave fight. This has all the makings of a classic battle. The steel armor giving it some protection from the impact. The flywheel only catching it in passing, and that's just not good enough with something as tough as this one. The pit opening now in the arena floor. Maybe soon to be occupied by one of these robots. This is what Robot Wars is all about. Carnage! It's finding it hard to stand up to the slicing with just the aluminium armor. The flipper just aiming to get underneath. Oh! They want more. Hey, I think they're dead already. Go on, leave them alone. The aluminium armor, not much defense against this kind of attack. Barging in to push it around. Pushing and shoving. But you need something to push into it hard to do any damage. The jaws looming up on it must look ferocious. The steel cease. Three, 2, 1. Activate. Oh, look out! Could be barbecued bot! That flipper's ready and waiting for its first victim. The steel armor giving it some protection from the impact. Not too difficult to cut into the Kevlar armor with the right weapon. My word! There's bits of robot all over the arena! Can they melt the polycarbonate though? It could happen. Their spike's been broken off! Tough steel armor, making it harder to cut into, of course. But hard to make an impression on the polycarbonate. It's very tough. Trying hard to cut through the Kevlar. That won't lift anything anymore. The flame not getting far against the steel shell. The axe has been broken off. No more use out of that then. It's carnage, devastation. It's Robot Wars! And it's going to be tough getting through the bulletproof glass on there. The steel taking the punishment well so far. The Kevlar armor makes it difficult to pierce the body of this robot. Wouldn't like to be cleaning the debris from the arena later on. Into the path of Matilda, and she takes no prisoners. In comes the circular saw. The chainsaw tearing away, but it's only grazing and scratching so far. Need to get a better grip. Metal everywhere. And the crowd love it. The Kevlar taking a battering but holding up. The aluminium should be able to protect it, but hard to make an impression on the polycarbonate. It's very tough. This has all the makings of a classic battle. The Kevlar doing well against the piercing attacks. The not Not too hard to cut into the aluminium, but it's putting up a brave fight. The pit opening now in the arena floor. Maybe soon to be occupied by one of these robots. The steel resisting the blade so far. The steel taking the punishment well so far. The Kevlar resisting the attack well. The Kevlar armor giving it great protection though. I'm not sure how long the aluminium armor can hold up against this sort of impact. It's finding it hard to stand up to the slicing with just the aluminium armor. Pushed into the clutches of Sir Killalot. On a direct collision course! You don't want to get in Sir Killalot's grasp. Cease! Three, 2, 1, activate! Matilda invites you into play. Her game's a little bit rough for most robots, though. Onto the arena flipper they go. Are they ready to fly? The titanium-covered body doing its best to deflect the aggressive attack. The titanium armor not as effective against that impact as they'd like. I'm not sure how long the aluminium armor can hold up against this sort of impact. Buzzing closer. The chainsaw looking for an opportunity to see some action. It gets underneath, getting a grip. But not enough, as it fails to lift it. Proving hard to get through the titanium, although it's not impossible. The titanium standing up for now. How long will it hold out? The crowd are wondering what's happened here. This isn't what they came to see. They want maiming and slaughter, and it has hold of them, and some damage caused with that attack. That flipper's ready and waiting for its first victim. The titanium won't be able to stand up to too much of that. My word! There's bits of robot all over the arena! The steel armor giving it some protection from the impact. The titanium standing up well to the punishment. The titanium, the tough to pierce, of course. Ramming in with a sharp spike! The titanium armor not as effective against that impact as they'd like. This is classic Robot Wars! Pushing and shoving. But you need something to push into it hard to do any damage. The armor holding out well against the charge. The titanium covered body doing its best to deflect the aggressive attack. The titanium standing up for now. How long will it hold out? It's carnage! Devastation! It's Robot Wars! The pit opens up, waiting to welcome the loser of our contest. The steel taking the punishment well so far. The crowd getting restless, waiting for them to get going. The titanium won't be able to stand up to too much of that. Coming in to pin it down with the ideal pushing weapon there. Thudding in! Not strong enough to do too much damage. It gets underneath, getting a grip, but not enough as it fails to lift it. Taking a bit of a battering as it pushes it all over and tries to topple it. Into the pit they go. Oh dear. Cease.